Sup you beautiful people. Hope you've had a fantastic day. Welcome back to another new episode of What If Naruto Was Justice League's Fire Shadow. If you guys enjoy this what if, comment down below and let me know. And go ahead and check out other what ifs in the channel after watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and also share this video with your friends. So now let's start this video. Deep in the ocean over a rough stormy day, the US submarine was currently on a routine scanning patrol of the ocean floor. This sub however was no ordinary naval combat vessel. It was one of the submarines tasked with carrying a small but no less lethal array of nuclear-armed missiles, used for intercontinental attacks. The sub-captain knew that this was a new patrol route that he had been assigned to, but he was hoping that this trip would not become a major pain in the ass, and just be another mission run, even if they were in international waters, though this was a new path selected by the head honchos back home. However, his hopes were going to be proven false as one of his crew, a sonar operations officer, called it in. "Con sonar, I am picking up an incoming contact. Out here. Do we have any idea who it is?" The officer listened and was quickly surprised by the fact that the sonar signature did not match any signature that was recorded in the US Navy records. "Negative, sir. Unknown contact sonar signature is not known on records." Any other comment was thrown out the window as they now found themselves under attack as the unknown ship rammed them. The captain immediately orders all hands to man battle stations and to send word of the sudden and unprovoked attack by unknown hostiles. Outside of the sub, the other submersibles come into view, and it's perfectly clear that the subs were not built by any of the known navies in the world itself. Their designs were utterly different, and they were not alone as human-like figures were seen moving along with what resembled jet skies, though these moved in water. Normally any human without some form of personal protection or in a submersible would have died from the sheer pressure and lack of oxygen in such depths. These people on the other hand had no problem dealing with both, and seemed to be more at home in the environment that they were now in. And for good reason. They were not human but Atlanteans. In the main vessel, the Atlantean crews worked on their consoles as a shadowy figure who sat in what obviously was the command chair of the vessel looked on. Soon it was clear that they were going to deal with the vessel without even bothering to state their intentions. The commander however was pleased to hear one of the officers speak. "The surface ship has been disabled, Your Highness." "Good, then let them sink." However, the call had managed to make it through to the surface, and backup was on the way. "Back in LA. Why the heck am I here again?" "Oh yeah, I'm here to buy enough food to feed a pack of wolves." "Damn, for a woman with a body models would kill for. Corey's got an appetite that I only ever saw with the Akimichi clan." Naruto mentally groaned as he was now pushing at least 2 shopping carts filled up to his chest with food items. Corey indeed had a hell of an appetite, that much he had already borne witness to, and now he had run out of food a bit too early for his liking. At least he could take heart in the fact that only the food he had in his house fridge was gone, and now resided in said beauty's gut, since he made it a point to carry spare food in his scrolls. That was why he still had food, though now he was going to have to work on overtime to buy enough food for himself, Raven, and Starfire. He felt like he was dealing with a drop-dead gorgeous but very slim and fit member of the Akimichi clan, when it came to Corey's appetite. In the Kami she did not get any extra mass when she ate. The one bit of good news he had though was that at least Raven was not as ravenous as Starfire was when it came to food. That was something he was thankful for, since if she was as hungry as Starfire was, then 2 carts worth of food was not going to cut it. He placed that aside and began to dig into the wallet he had as he got to the counter, and took out a large wad of $1,000 bills to pay for the food he had purchased. The man who was there to man the counter the blonde had lined up on whistled the very second he saw the 2 carts and the food they had. "Man, that is a lot of food. You plan on having one hell of a party at some point, sir." Naruto grinned a bit and replied, "Let's just say that my housemates have very big appetites." The man laughed gently and replied, "I hear that I had some dorm mates back home who ate like there was no tomorrow." The two continued until Naruto's orders were done and paid for in record, and for that he was thankful. Though it still made a lot of people who watched him boggle at the amount of food he bought. He chuckled a bit to himself as he wondered how they would have reacted if they learned of his old running buddy Chaoji. Now if he was here and met Corey, then he would have competition for food all the time, and nothing made his now long-pasted deceased friend fight for food harder than having competition. He got them all stored away and headed back to his pad. He had no workloads today, and had gone off to get some time alone with his new roommates. Not in that sense, but to make sure that they were all getting along, and he would be able to call in on the league and get them up to speed on the situation he found himself in. Yet tell them about the half-human half-demon babe who is now residing with you. You got a better suggestion, Kurama? Cause if you do, I'm all ears. Nope, just voicing it out. Seriously though, this is going to be a very interesting situation for you, since I can bet that Raven being around is going to make life interesting. Naruto groaned mentally at that as he started the SUV and headed back to his hideout, and with his supplies, all he could hope for was that he did not make too many of these trips. At least Raven did not eat too much, and she was more of the eat enough to both nourish and enjoy, but no binging and the like. She was a major fan of books though, something that he found out after a few days, since all she usually did was read most of the time. He looked at the new pile of books he bought for her, since she did make a request for them, and she was very thorough on what she wanted. She had at times moved out of her robe, and when he got to see her figure in a leotarд man. For all her gloomy atmosphere, Raven was drop-dead gorgeous. One thing was certain, even if she was trying to be dark and mysterious, along with magically dangerous woman, she was still very beautiful, demonic blood and origins aside to be sure. Geez, I really have to control myself. True that, you could always visit your boss and hang out with Pamela if you feel up to it, so you can forget those ideas for the time being. I'm sure they can be more than willing to help you deal with the stress of the whole idea of two women in the same building as you. Naruto did not like the snicker in that tone on Kurama's voice, and replied with sarcasm. Oh sure, do the matter stance with my boss, and the same with someone who I am trying to help turn her life around, and make her see other choices that she make. As tempting as that would be, I know that's not always the right idea. Kurama snickered at that even more, and then spoke to Naruto seriously. Be that as it may, Kit, sooner or later you will have to tell them about her, and the way I see it, better they hear it from you than someone else with less than noble intentions. Plus, there is the fact that sooner or later, you will have to talk about me and your origins, all of your origins. Naruto nodded in agreement with that. Sooner or later he would have to tell them, even more so in revealing Kurama and the powers that his longtime ally had given him. But like before, he had a feeling that it might not be so well received in several areas. You know that it is going to cause some serious reactions, Kurama. You and I are allies, but once they learned of your past actions, they might not see it that way. Not to mention the fact that if I do come clean with them about my past and my connection to you, that also means I have to tell them about my whole life. Not too sure how they would react to what they would learn if I tell them, but I can bet that if I reveal my martial situation, it is going to raise eyebrows. Of that I have no doubt, even more so for your Amazon companion, since as hot as she is, I doubt Diana would take kindly to you being able to have more than one wife, due to customs. And let's not even begin with the big blue boy scout you know as Superman, but let's face it, it's all part of the whole package deal that is your life. If they can't accept it, then that is their decision, and you can always choose to place aside your league membership and strike solo if it comes to that. Though if Starfire and Raven are anything to go by, you can bet the term solo may never apply to you. Naruto chuckled at the truth in that statement, since they were his partners in a sense. Diana's reaction also worried him, since he had learned enough from her about the reasons why men were disliked or outright hated in Themyscira, though she personally did not have a visceral hatred for men as some of her sisters would. However, he could wager a guess she would not take kindly to the idea of him being married to more than one woman. But if she met the female ninja that he had been married to, she might change her mind. As he drove deeper into his home location, he parked the SUV and got out to get the supplies, and heard a voice which he recognized easily, as the cheerful nature told him who it was. Friend Naruto. It's good to see you. Naruto smiled and turned to say hi to Kori, only to see that she was once more fully naked in front of him, and judging by the fact that she was covered in water, she had just gotten out of the shower. His eyes could not help but stare at the droplets of water that were on her form from head to toe, along with on her hips, breasts, and the like. And adding the fact that as she flew to land before him feet first, Naruto was given one hell of a full frontal show by the drop-dead gorgeous female Tamaranian, who was smiling radiantly at him for his return. Had it not been for the fact that he was quite used to seeing naked women, and he was aware that Kori had no problem with being naked, he would have thought she was seducing him on purpose. Even more so when said naked woman hugged him tightly, pressing her more than well-formed and ample bust to him. This was a major test of his ability to resist the desire to grab the orange-toned beauty with red hair and green eyes, and have his way with her. Now most guys would have urged him on to do it or kick him aside to take his place, but that would never happen, since Naruto was not going to go to that length, even if it seemed that Kori was not the least bit worried by that. Yet again he was thankful his mega pervert of a godfather was not around to see this. He'd be shouting with glee, and speaking along the lines of Ryo and Gaki, meaning him, in ways he was not keen on remembering. As soon as Kori released him after he struggled to tell her he needed air, she gave him a look of apology. I am sorry for my over-enthusiastic greeting, friend Naruto. I am just pleased to see you so soon. I kind of figured that. Anyway, now that I am here, we should get some of the stuff back into the kitchen. And Kori, I know this is going to sound redundant to you, but can you please put some clothes on? Kori gave a pout that was once more cute and yet seductive at the very same time, coupled with her more than beautiful figure. It was devastating. Must I? Naruto sighed and replied. Yes, I normally don't have a problem with that since you are comfortable about this sort of thing, but for the sake of learning new things about this world, please wear some clothing, Kori. It's not that I don't find you attractive or anything, because I really do, but because it is not recommended that you be like this in front of every guy you meet. Kori's pout faded, and then she smiled as she spoke. Not to worry, friend Naruto, I will not do this in front of others, since I'm planning of only doing this in front of you after all, since I trust you. Naruto could not help but be gobsmacked at that comment, though naturally there was a part of him being a man that was saying thank you in all the known volume settings. How in the heck would someone like him suppose to answer a woman when she said that she would be naked only for him to look at her? Any attempt to try and speak was cut short, however, when a call came in. Naruto was quick to get himself focused on the task at hand. It seemed that the call also made Kori become more serious as she headed off to get herself dressed. As soon as she did so, the two of them were there before the communication screen provided by Batman. Raven was there, but deemed it best to remain well away from the viewer system to avoid being caught. She was well aware of the fact that her presence would be seen as a threat by someone who she did not know yet, but she was not taking a chance. That proved to be a wise idea as Batman appeared on the screen. Hokage, Starfire, we've got a situation. We need the both of you at the watchtower now. We will fill you in on the situation once you get here. Both nodded, and when Batman was gone, Raven came out and Starfire greeted her in her usual fashion. Friend Raven, we are going on a mission with the League. You wish to join us? Raven shook her head and replied. I can't, not right now. I cannot leave at all until I am assured that I am being hunted no longer by those who seek my powers. Starfire was not happy to hear that, and wished that her newfound friend with Naruto would be able to join the League. After all, they accepted her, they would be accepting of Rave too, would they not? Naruto, however, was quick to see Raven's discomfort with the idea, and spoke to Kori to make sure that she did not do something that could be seen as an intrusion by Raven in her own private thoughts and emotions. Raven has a point, Starfire. For now she will be fine here. I made sure to find very good books for her, and we can meet up with her after the mission, okay? Starfire reluctantly nodded, and soon Naruto used his Hiroshin Jutsu, and now they were in the watchtower. The others were there with the marked exception of Flash and Hawkgirl, which was a bit odd on his view. That was something that he would have to work on in the later time frame when he could. The only team members left were Superman, Green Lantern, Batman, John, and Wonder Woman, some of the heavy hitters, so whatever case the other two were working on in their own time they could handle. Good to see you made it. Superman greeted them, and soon it was Naruto who spoke. What exactly is the emergency? John replied. We got word that a US Navy submarine named the Defiant on a routine patrol in the Atlantic Ocean was suddenly under attack by unknown subs as well. The weird thing is that there's no known path used by other nations' navies. We don't know for certain what happened or who was responsible, but since the ship was operating in international waters, it could be anyone or anything for that matter. What makes it worse is the fact that the sub in question is carrying nukes. Naruto raised an eyebrow at that and began to try and figure out just where he heard of it before. It quickly clicked in his mind just where he heard of them. He had done research on the military of the US, and was quite impressed by what he was able to read. The technology here gave them a major advantage when compared to his homeland, though back home, they did their own tech research though like before. Most of it was for military application before being given civilian versions. However, that also meant that he knew what subs were and blanched quickly at the idea. Held it, we're going into the ocean. In the Javelin. Naruto was not too comfortable with the idea of being underwater, as the multi-purpose jet was moving to where the sub was last reported to have been. He had managed to chat with both Asobu and Kuku, and they had provided him a chakra technique that they knew could help him move in breath underwater. Which he had been working on ever since he got the message that the League had to check it out, since the last report from said sub mentioned being hit by unknowns while on routine patrol, which in Navy speak was bad news. The sight of the world underneath the ocean certainly did not improve his mood either as he looked around. This was soon seen by Diana, who spoke to him. Are you alright, Hokage? Honestly, no, this whole idea of being underwater is really freaking me out. And coming from a guy like me, Diana Hime, it's already saying a lot as it is. Are you sure that the Javelin can handle being this deep underwater? That man replied to that. Positive, we have the whole Javelin fleet rated for space travel after all, so underwater operations is not all that unexpected. That did little alleviate Naruto's feelings, but he sucked it up and focused on the task at hand. Naruto was thankful at least that even in this veritable flying sardine can he could gather Senjutsu chakra. One good thing in his mind about being this deep in the ocean is that there was plenty of life here, and the nature energy here was not affected too heavily by pollution. Not like in the cities. Kori looked at Naruto and could see that he was really edgy about being deep in the water, and was still in the process of calming down. She decided to hug Naruto and spoke to him in a very consoling tone. You will be fine, friend Naruto, I will help you as best I can. Naruto could not help but feel a bit more amused by the action of the Tamaranian, and he was busy to also try and not allow himself to react to the closeness of the woman. The others were looking on as well, though with obviously different takes on the blonde's rather awkward situation. John ignored the whole thing. John merely looked on impassively. Superman was trying not to laugh. Batman, well, he's Batman, and Diana was merely looking with a raised eyebrow at the situation. Any other comment, however, was put to rest when they finally came to the exact location. The US Navy said to them that the sub had gone down and had been deemed lost. They looked around to find the cause of the sub going down, and Kori got serious as well. Much to Naruto's relief, as he was about to let his more perverted side have some fun, he decided to tap into his sage mode to try and search for the chakra signatures of the crew to determine if they were still alive. He soon found them and focused on their exact location, but suddenly he picked up several other signatures. "We are not alone down here." It was not long before Naruto's comment was proven true when they spotted several ships heading in their direction. John was quick to act as he realized that these ships were not of any sub he knew of. He might have been gone for a while from Earth, but he still knew enough to know the kind of subs that were used. These were definitely not subs he knew of. "Now we know just who attacked the Defiant. But those are not any subs I know of." That man then spoke. "I'll take the javelin, let's see if we can't ID these attackers and hopefully prevent a shootout." That however was out of their hands when the ship tried to destroy them, and John replied, "Looks like they are not in the mood to talk." Superman sighed as he knew where this was going to lead as he and the others got out. Batman would handle the javelin, and the rest of them would deal with the attackers, who he knew of well enough. "I was hoping it would not come to this. I can only hope Aquaman is here, and can reason with his people before this gets really ugly." Naruto raised an eyebrow at that as he summoned the Chakra Shroud. "Who?" "Aquaman, someone I knew of a few years back. He's the leader of the Atlanteans, and they are the ones outside." Corey then spoke. "Why then do they have such hostile intent towards others, friend Superman?" Superman gave a slight scowl as he was all too familiar on the why of it, and decided to give the short version to Corey as well as the others. "Long story short, Lex Luthor captured Aquaman and planned to experiment on him when I met him. Needless to say, a friend of mine, Lois from the Daily Planet, and myself helped free him. That incident though made him less than happy with the people on land, and we had to convince him not to go to war with the surface world. If he's with them, then perhaps I can convince him to stop this before this gets way out of hand, since he does listen to what I said. I just hope he's in a reasonable mood when we meet him." That man spoke once more as he managed to move the javelin away from some more attacks. "Then I suggest we get to it, though we're going to have to knock some sense into them first. Talking to them isn't going to happen if we are not alive to do it." The heroes who could fight in the ocean soon left the javelin, and Superman decided to try and call out to Aquaman and prevent this from devolving into a shooting match. The Kryptonians' efforts were not going to bear fruit though, as the sub attacked them all, and so they had no choice but to fight them all, and keep themselves alive long enough to stop this from going any further. Both Superman and Wonder Woman soon focused their strength to take on a much larger vessel, to allow the javelin to avoid the weapons it had on target on this smaller fighter. But once they managed to deal with that one, then two more of the same massive subs were coming in, and the Atlanteans were now going on into the fight, using what would be considered the underwater version of jet skies. The League members were now caught in a fight with the Atlanteans, and there was no ifs or buts about it. Naruto was thankful that the chakra technique that the two water-born members of the Nine in him was helping him not to only breathe but move as well. He dodged another attempt by an Atlantean soldier to skewer him, and then managed to land a kick into the man's face. The impact might not have been that powerful due to the water nearby, but the blow was enough to send the man off that sea vehicle of his, and allow Naruto to quickly grab it, and then after a brief struggle, guided that thing to slam into another one being piloted by one of the Atlantean soldiers. Had forced the second Atlantean to jump clear, only for him to slug by Naruto in the face, before the blonde took out his sword to block an incoming strike to his head from another Atlantean. Corey was not far behind, as her own energy shroud allowed her to move through the water as well, and she soon fired several blasts of energy at her attackers. The blasts destroyed their rides and forced them to face her in hand-to-hand combat when she charged. But she knocked them aside with her energy-covered fists and feet as well. She even went further by grabbing a nearby boulder from the seafloor and tossed it at another one of the massive vessels. Superman was also doing the same thing, though in his case, he was tangling with the subs alongside Diana. John used his power ring to form walls and beams to knock the Atlanteans aside and defend the others. When they were attacking him of all people, he formed a barrier and held them off just as John came in and took them down. One of the Atlanteans tried to take down the Martian, only for the Martian become intangible, and the blow missed the intended target, and John knocked the man out. Diana was next to defend herself as some of the Atlanteans fired their vehicles' weapons at her, forcing her to defend herself using her bracers. The second the Atlanteans stopped, she rushed in, and despite the fact that she should be slowed down by being in the water, she got into the man's face and landed one hell of a haymaker on the chin. She soon blocked another one coming at her with her bracers, before moving to use her lasso. She caught the attacker and yanked him off his ride, and turned him into the head of an impromptu mace, to send two more of his fellows out for the count. That man was not far behind either, as he used the firepower of the javelin to fight off the larger subs, and was thankful for the extra armor and firepower the multi-environment fighter gave him in a place like this. It was not long, however, that more of the Atlanteans were coming in to reinforce their fellows, and this time around, someone else got into the act. The former Hokage looked at the new arrival, and he could tell immediately that this man was the head honcho of the bunch before him. The fact that he carried one wicked-looking trident and acted like a king added to the whole deal, as he readied his swords since they were heading in his direction. The fact that a fairly high number of Atlantean soldiers accompanied him also made Naruto more than aware that this was not going to be a good situation if things went south. Halt. You and your companions are in the territory of Atlantis. Naruto snorted and spoke, as the chakra shroud he used also allowed his voice to be heard. I don't recall seeing any signs that said this section of the ocean floor had been claimed. That statement seemed to have stuck a chord in the Atlantean soldiers as they glared at the blonde, though the leader of the bunch who he could guess was Aquaman, the same one that Superman spoke of, kept calm. And it was not long before the big blue Boy Scout himself came into the scene. Aquaman. Even with the neutral look the man had on his face, Naruto managed to see a flicker of recognition on his face when he turned to look at Superman himself. So we meet again, Superman. The Kryptonian and the Atlantean did indeed know one another, and that was a good thing in everyone's books, as they hoped that Superman could finally convince the man to let them go and save those people trapped in the submarine. I am sorry for the intrusion into the borders of Atlantis, but we came here to answer the distress call of the Defiant that was hit here. They should have stayed on the surface where they belonged. The disdain in the blonde man's voice for the lives of the sub they attacked grated at Naruto's nerves a bit more. Well, he could understand the idea of forcing people off one's territorial borders, but what these Atlanteans did was really pushing the limit on what was acceptable in protecting one's territory. And he made his dislike for the action, along with the man's attitude, clear. Did they attack you first? What was that? Naruto sighed mentally at the man but kept his cool as he knew that this was not the right time to lose his temper. They had better things to do than continue with a debate with him. If I recall right, the only reason one would retaliate was if they were attacked first. So that leads to my question from before. Did they attack you first? No, and that is of no consequence now. No consequence? Has all this time in the seawater pickled your brain or what? In case you haven't noticed, they had done nothing hostile on your people to warrant this little stunt. Had you let them leave without incident, then none of us would be here. But no, you decided to sink them and endanger the crew of that ship, which if memory serves in my day, is an open act of aggression that makes you and your people the hostiles here. That in turn makes this stunt of your people an open declaration of war. Aquaman was not pleased by that, though his face was neutral as he spoke. The only proof of his hostility was the fact that he held his trident tighter. The same went for his escorts, though the Blonde King did nothing to order an attack on the former Hokage. Are you threatening my people? The Blonde snorted and replied. I'm not, I'm just stating facts. I happen to know why you don't like the people up there, and Kami knows there's plenty of people who are very much the worst kind. But that is no excuse for starting a war when no one attacked you, and even more so when you condemn innocent people who took no part in attacking your own to begin with. You let those people leave alive, and perhaps it might help ease the tensions around here. Don't. And well, let's just put it this way, if it's a war you want, then it's a war you shall get. The Atlanteans were not too happy about that, but they did nothing as Aquaman did not give them the signal to attack. The Blonde King however looked at the one before him, and wondered just why he felt that his words had more weight in them. He may look young, but Aquaman felt that he was far older than he actually was. His words have a ring of truth in them. Diana then spoke as calmly as she could, knowing full well she was addressing a king and thus a fellow royal. Despite what many would think about her people's recognized distrust or at times hatred of men, this did not apply to all of them. Diana was well aware that Atlanteans were a whole different bunch altogether, and thus they were to be respected due to not only their power, but the fact that they were of a different race as well. Besides, despite her less than stellar meeting with Lantern, she had begun to get used to being around her male colleagues in the League. Please, they will drown here. Aquaman looked at the League and then to the sub, thinking on what had to be done. And he finally decided on a course of action. Very well, take the crew of that vessel, but that vessel stays right where it is. That did not sit well with one of the League, however. What? No way is that going to happen. Lantern came there and it was obvious that he was less than happy with the option given to them by Aquaman. The others were none too happy about the idea either, but they also had to admit that with time against them, they had to choose, either take the ship and risk making this situation a lot more complicated, or take Aquaman's offer to take the crew yet leave the nukes and stop this from going any further. Aquaman's next speech only served to anger the former Marine even more. What makes you believe that you are in a position to argue? The former Marine was none too happy with that statement, and was about to power up until Superman stopped him. A good thing he did that too, since the Atlanteans leveled their weapons at Lantern. Lantern, we have no other choice here. If we don't move now, the crew drowns. I don't like the idea of leaving those nukes either, and I wish we can get them and the crew, but time's against us. That was finally enough to get John to calm down, but Naruto hardly doubted that this was the last time the former Marine was going to let this go unresolved. He actually liked that idea even if he and Stuart was not exactly buddies or anything. Naruto was not blind to the fact that a number of the Atlantean soldiers were looking at Diana and Corey intently. And being who he was and what he experienced, he had no problem seeing the less than pure thoughts flying around in their heads. Thus he made sure to send a bit of killing intent with Senjutsu chakra mixed in, and Kuramas to warn them to back off. That worked as the leering Atlantean soldiers moved away, though it was clear that his action did not go unnoticed by everyone in sight range of him. Yet they had more pressing matters at hand, so they did not continue the whole thing. The good news was that they were now able to get the people of the sub out and take them back to the mainland. Naruto was quick to get up to the surface and be thankful to be out of the ocean for now. Kori was kind enough to help him up to the javelin, while Diana gave him a smile of thanks for helping her when her attackers tried to double-team her much earlier. That however allowed him to hear the conversation between Aquaman and Superman. This doesn't have to always end like this. And what would you propose? Go to the World Assembly and air your grievances to the people there, as they too represent their nations in this world. The blonde looked at Superman warily and replied, "Am I supposed to come in there act like a beggar? No, you to come there as a king and ruler of Atlantis." Thankfully it seemed that the crew of the US naval vessel were now being taken away to safety by the others, though he had no doubt Lantern was anything but happy. Even more so with the idea that they had to leave the nukes behind, and if you were to hazard a guess, the head honchos of the Navy were not going to be too happy with that either. In the watchtower, Superman was not all that happy with his current situation in dealing with an obviously irate admiral of the US Navy. The submarine's crew were back safely, but the report the said crew gave to their higher-ups had the brass in the US military up in arms. Not that Naruto could blame them. When he read up all he could on these nuclear missiles, they all sounded like the high-tech version of the Kinjutsu Hot Air had on her body that could level battlefields and poison the land. That last part did not sit well with the blonde, with him being a sage and all that, and he did not even want to guess the number of people who would be killed in such an event a weapon like that was used. He was thankful that none of his enemies back home had not developed the tech to make these nukes, since the last thing he felt his world needed were those things. The blonde looked at Superman, who at the moment was working hard to calm the man, and he then turned to John and Diana. The former Marine was not in the best of moods to say the very least, and Diana was doing her best to try and calm the man. He already knew just why they were arguing. "I am telling you, leaving those nukes with that madman is a bad idea. Who knows what the hell he is going to use those nukes for? Aquaman is not a madman, Lantern. He is a king, leader of his people, and he is only doing his best to defend his people." Lantern was not all that happy, however, and relied in kind. "And who is going to protect the people on the surface from him? I am not going to let those nukes just lie there and be used by him or his posse." And with that in mind, he turned around and headed out. Diana tried to reason with Lantern, but Naruto was there and shook his head at the Amazon princess. John's made up his mind, Diana Hime, and to be honest, I can't exactly blame him either. I know that Aquaman is trying his best to defend his people. I would do what I could if I was in his place as well. Hell, I did the same thing myself more than once as Hokage. But the fact remains that John is honor-bound to defend the people here, and thus he has more than ample reason to react the way he did. Those nukes are very much a cause of concern for anyone, and John has a right to be worried. Both of them are not going to budge on the matter. I see, but what can we do? All we can do is wait and see if we can't find a solution that can at least work for both sides, though I can bet 10 to 1 that Aquaman is not having an easy time of it. And Naruto was right, for Aquaman was facing one of his own people who was making demands, though in this case, it was for something of a more offensive nature towards the people on the surface. In the city of Atlantis, throne room, Aquaman, or rather Arthur, was currently facing one of his military officers, in fact one of the more recognized heads of the military, one General Brack, who was currently speaking about the recent altercation with the surface dwellers. Next to him was his brother Orm, and his wife Mare. Orm was one of his advisors apart from being his half-brother, and his wife Mare was nearby holding their child, and serving as his consciousness on what was being spoken to him. "My king, we cannot just stand back and let the surface dwellers do what they please. Not any longer. These barbarians treat the ocean as if they have a right to do with as they please. They dump their garbage into the seas, they pollute the waters and foul once fertile hunting and harvesting grounds. They take all and give nothing back. They sail their weapons over the seas with impunity. It is high time that we put a stop to this before our people will suffer from their neglect and arrogance. And we in the military have a solution." "And what is that?" Brack was serious about the whole matter and replied, "Our military has the technology, the will, the resources, and the manpower. The surface dwellers have yet to have anything that can watch us conventionally. Our military can invade and sweep through the surface world and remove these barbarians from the lands once and for all." Aquaman knew immediately that it meant total war, and unlike Brack, he knew full well that despite their appearance, the surface dwellers were anything but primitive. Yes, they lacked certain things that the Atlanteans had in far better numbers than they did, but that hardly meant that it was going to be as easy as Bra would want to believe. Not only that, there were others among the surface dwellers who had more than enough power to be major dangers to his people, the recently formed Justice League being among them. He also had no desire to plunge Atlantis into a war that would lead to the deaths of who knew how many of his people. "General Brack, I decide policy here as king, not you." Brack then did something that got on the blonde Atlantean's nerves as he actually moved forward and showed a more aggressive and demanding posture and tone. These were not good things to show before one's own leader. But we cannot delay any more, my king. We should end this all now before they cause even more destruction with their barbaric disregard for the oceans. The common's eyes narrowed as he looked at the still defiant Brack. He was still trying to digest the fact that not only was Brack defying him, but also acting as if he was going to force him to take military action. This was something that had troubled the common of late, as he knew that Brack's words were not without merit. He too had experienced the actions of the surface dwellers when he had been taken captive and experimented on by the one known as Lex Luthor. He had wanted to wage war there and then to avenge his suffering, but in that same instant, he too knew that not all of the surface dwellers were enemies of his. Superman and his friend Lois Lane had helped to free him, and they were those who talked him down in order to stop the war with the surface world. They were among the few people who he would listen to, and thus he was now torn between his desire to stop the surface dwellers with any means deemed necessary, or to find a more peaceful solution that did not result in him willingly leading his people into war that would result in the loss of lives. That was why he was not the least bit pleased by the way Brack was speaking to him. However, Orm came in and spoke to Brack. "That is enough, General. Your king has spoken." Brack looked at Orm and nodded. "Of course, my lord Orm, I apologize." The common already knew that this was not going to be the last time that he would have this discussion with Brack, but he had to consider many things. Even more so when he looked at the direction of his wife Mara and their child, and heard his son cry a bit, along with Mara working to calm their child. "I will take your words under advisement, General Brack. There is much for me to consider, and to also make sure that this is done with everything considered." Later, the common walked into the private quarters and headed for the crib where his son and heir to the throne happened to be resting, while Mara kept him company. When he held his hand before his son, the young babe held his fingers and squeezed. Arthur smiled at that and was more than willing to let his son grip his hand. "He has a strong grip indeed." Mara nodded with motherly affection and pride. "He takes after his father." He smiled at that, but his smile was not going to last as he thought about all that has happened. His change of demeanor did not escape his wife, and Mara soon spoke to him as the blonde leader of the nation of Atlantis moved to the balcony of the city and looked it over. The city of Atlantis was nothing like that of the old Greek style that it had descended from in the books, due to them having to adapt into their new world and develop not merely magic but technology, even though there were few forms of magic. His people were able to live in peace and thus were able to prosper for many centuries, prior to the rise of the surface dwellers in their own over the same time frame. "Arthur, something bothers you deeply. Please tell me what it is." Arthur looked at his beloved wife and then into the city, as well as to their son who was now sleeping in the crib. "Am I doing the right thing there? I know that what Brack said is true, and had he suggested it years ago I would have given him my consent. The surface dwellers have caused more than enough damage to our world, and I have known firsthand their callousness and disregard for the lives of others. Yet I have also met those among them who have shown to me that they are not barbarians and can be trusted." He speak of Superman and his friend Lois Lane. "Yes, and if I do go to war with the surface world, he and I will be enemies, and can I truly agree to starting a war that will drag our people into God's knows how long a conflict? Am I strong enough to take such a course of action that will have my hands stained by so much blood?" Mara understood where Arthur was going with this and held his hands in her own as she spoke. "Your hands are strong enough to defend our people and our home, and I gladly entrust my life and my future in them." That made a common smile, and he began to think back on the suggestion made by Superman, and after a few more minutes, he made a decision, and then proceeded to tell his wife. At the side of the Defiant, Atlantean patrols were moving around the downed US Navy submarine, as per the orders of their king, to make sure the sub stayed where it was. That would have been proof enough to most people that Aquaman was serious in keeping his word. However, Jon Stewart was anything but most people as he began to sneak in quietly and patiently, avoiding the patrols and using his training both as a marine and a Green Lantern to get into the sub. One would think that a man who was covered in a glowing green silhouette of energy could be seen, but the patrols were not focusing on him. Jon took that into account and quickly headed to where the missile bay was, showing that even though he was a marine and not a guy who usually worked on subs, he knew enough to know where to go. He scanned the area with the ring, and sure enough he now had a greater reason to distrust Aquaman. The nuclear material used on the missiles was no longer there. Back on the surface, the people on the beach were currently enjoying some regular time in the sun, and also with families and loved ones. Beach sports and the like to make sure that they were all able to be entertained. However, all that took a back seat when some of the swimmers began to move away from the water and move back to shore. Normally that would have meant something bad, like sharks or whatnot, but instead a tall man came out from the water without any form of breathing apparatus or diving suit. The beachgoers just watched as the man moved through the beach and soon headed into the city. As soon as he got there, he moved through without caring much for who was looking. Aquaman had come to the city, and already he was not the least bit happy. No doubt not liking the smell of the air which had smoke and smog in it, and also the stench of garbage that he could smell easily enough as he moved forward, ignoring the stares directed at him. There was also the fact that apparently he was lost, he needed directions. As he crossed the street, cars quickly stopped to avoid running him over. One driver, however, made the mistake of shouting at the annoyed Atlantean king, "Hey you idiot, get the hell off the road." And what was Aquaman's reaction to that rather unflattering remark? Closed fist on the hood of the car that literally caved it in and made the car's rear move forward, showing that he was not someone one shouted at, unless one had a less than stellar regard for one's own health. That shut set driver up pretty darn quick, and brought a nearby traffic cop, who had to be given credit for doing his job, even though the man he faced was that strong. "Hey, what on earth are you doing?" Aquaman looked at him sternly and apparently learned enough to know that the man was a man of authority due to the badge. He then proceeded to get the information he sought his way. Where's the World Assembly? Thanks for listening. I do hope you enjoyed. If you want the next part of this video, like, subscribe and comment down below, and turn on the bell notification. And also check out other videos that I have created and enjoy. See you in the next video. Peace.